and we are live. Croc Talk with Chris Croc. We have so much going on. In just a minute, you're going to hear about America Reads the Bible. A ton of really, really high-profile, respected, and people that you and I love and know are going to be part of America Reading the Bible in this 250th anniversary, and it's upcoming, and you can be a part of it and watch it or go there. There's so many things I'm going to tell you about that with a powerful woman out there in the Christian community with Christians Engaged. Bunny Pounds joins us in just a few moments, but also war. We are at war with Iran, whether you like it or not, and I'm going to tell you right now, I do support this. There's a lot of people on my side that don't. We're going to get into that big time, and I'm going to tell you why it's the right decision, and that'll be fun. I want to welcome a brand new sponsor to the show. We have Due West Foundation Repair. My friend Jim Dutton has been my plumber and my foundation guy for 11 years. And my wife worked for him. Due West, if you want the best, call Due West. But you know who the title sponsor of this show is? That is my friend Randy Martin from IRSprob.com, IRSprob.com. Always love showing you the logo because why not? Here it is. Today's show brought to you by IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Randy Martin has been my tax man for my business, my wife's business, for over 8 years. Don't even know how long. It's been a long time. With that, let's get right into it. Bunny Pounds from Christians Engaged. Welcome, and America Reads the Bible. Welcome to Croc Talk with Chris Croc.
Great to be with you, Chris.
It's absolutely great to have you here. I mean, I've heard so much about you over the years from so many people. You are a vital person to take our faith, and I want you to explain what your group is before we get into America Reads the Bible. But you're a very critical entity in an area that I don't think existed out there. Tell me what Christians Engaged is and what you do as the founder and president.
Yeah, Christians Engaged was created after 16 years I ran campaigns and was a political consultant working for members of Congress, and ran for Congress in 2018 and lost a $1 million runoff by just a couple thousand votes. And really, it came out of my burden that we continue to talk about Christians not voting in primaries and special elections and local elections, even in general presidential elections and midterms. We still don't have Christians voting like we should. But I got tired of just talking about it. And so we built a voter communication system where Christians around the country make a commitment to pray regularly for America and our elected officials. They commit to vote in every election and commit to start engaging in civics and biblical worldview and in campaigns and all that stuff. And we train them. And so we track every election in the country now and push over 1 million Christians out to vote. And we're gaining speed. I hope to go to 2 million before the midterms.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, Bunny. And I'm grateful that you do this. What led you, and we're going to get into America Reads the Bible in just a second, because there's some really big name people affiliating themselves with this, and it's going to get bigger and better, and it's a huge deal. But tell me this too, what led you to form Christians Engaged? I mean, you kind of pretty much told me there, but what's the main purpose that you created it for? And I mean, and again, you kind of answered that, but just tell me, what is it in a thumbnail for average folks out there? Why is Christians Engaged so important?
Well, I really felt like the Lord spoke to me that he's going to be waking up his church in the years ahead, and that they needed actual discipleship and motivation and accountability towards our stewardship of our country and our civic duties. And sometimes we often look at, these things like getting involved in political parties or running for school board or going to our Chamber of Commerce as like these secular things.
Yes.
But it's really about bringing the gospel and being salt and light and having wisdom that we gain from scripture and from our relationship with the Lord, and being in the room when the decisions are being made. And so we wanted to walk aside Christians that are awakening and maybe have never been involved in this space at all, to teach them how to engage. And we built over $300,000 of on-demand video curriculum, our on-ramp to civic engagement course, our local government, how to be salt and light course, and many other classes. We call it Christians Engage Academy, and people can get an individual class, or they can access that for a subscription as well.
And you guys will have seminars, like a weekend seminars, I think, right? Where at churches for people to come and learn how to be engaged and about politics and faith and what we should be doing as Christians, right?
Yes, pastors host us. We do Sunday morning services, but we also do weekend, Saturday, full day seminars with our on-ramp to civic engagement around the country. And we can pretty much craft something for any church pastor that wants to actually activate their people. That's what we're here for.
So there's some really big names that are going to be taking part in America Reads the Bible. I'm holding up the one-sheeter that you guys have for folks to see. America Reads the Bible, 1 week, 1 nation, 1 book. I see Ted Cruz is going to be one of the people reading. You have people reading. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you have people reading the Bible. You'll be able to watch it online if you can't go to D.C., or you can go to D.C., I believe, at the Museum of the Bible. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, and get tickets and go there in person. But you've got Ted Cruz, Franklin Graham, of course, and some other really big name folks. Is Pete Hegseth going to be involved? Is Donald Trump going to be involved, as far as you know right now?
Yes, we have 6 cabinet members confirmed. We have 6 governors confirmed, including Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick from Texas.
That's excellent.
We have about 20 members of Congress. We are believing that the president, the vice president, and Speaker of the House will all be reading. They're not confirmed yet, but we do have spots for them. And the White House Faith Office, the White House is working with us very closely. It's really been a blessing. We will have a cabinet secretary at our opening celebration on April 18.
Nice.
I can't announce who that is yet.
Right.
But April 18 is our opening celebration. Everybody from Candace Cameron Bure and Cameron and BJ Arnett from the Forge movie, who are our national spokespeople for this event. Patricia Heaton,
That's
Tony
it, Patricia
Perkins.
Heaton, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Perkins, David Barton, Alan Jackson, Pastor Alan Jackson.
Yep.
So many people will be there telling their testimony related to the Bible and calling the American people back to daily Bible reading and discipleship. And that's kind of our messaging night. That'll be a 90-minute program live streamed on PureFlix. And we do have 300 seats still for the opening celebration. If somebody wants to support the cause and come to that, it will be a life-changing national moment. And then at the end of that, we will start 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 7 full days from the World Stage Theater of the Museum of the Bible. Just a person, almost 500 readers of national leaders from government, entertainment, media, 115 national ministries signed on now. It's going to be epic. And it will be live streamed on PureFlix. People can stream it from their churches, in their schools, in their businesses, in their family rooms, on their phones. But we have 12,000 seats for people to come to the Museum of the Bible, experience this live in the room for our 250th birthday. And then my friend Kyle Martin and his team are bringing his cousin Mindy Oten's amazing 66 paintings of the Messiah showing up in all books of the Bible.
Nice.
So we'll have that on display, as well as the Dead Sea Scrolls that are there and full access to the museum. So
but you can't touch the Dead Sea Scrolls, though. Still no touching that. The Dead Sea Scrolls. You can look at them.
You can look at them, and let me just say, it is an amazing moment that the Dead Sea Scrolls are in America.
Yes.
Period. But that they're there at the Museum of the Bible while we are going to be proclaiming the Word of God over this nation. People should just bring their kids, grandkids, grab tickets now. It's going to be epic.
Okay, they need to go to get the information on this, to see how you can watch it if you can't go to D.C., or if you want to get one of the tickets available still, AmericaReadsTheBible.com. That's AmericaReadsTheBible.com. Let me ask you this, because I was at did a recent speech. One of the people that spoke, you can sign up to speak at the Wiley ISD School Board, with the Islamization of Wiley ISD, serving halal meals in the school, for example, and having adults come in and pass out Qurans and understanding Sharia pamphlets, and it went viral. And one of the things which you never know, you know how that stuff works. You don't know what's going to go viral. I didn't mean to. It just did my little thing, and it went viral. But the point is that one of the things I said that was prominently featured, they cut up the 2-minute speech into like a minute, and then everybody and their brother played it for like a week, this past week. But one of the things that I said is America is a Christian nation. And I think a lot of people think that's not true, or that that's just something Christian folks say. Is America a Christian nation, and why?
Well, the foundation of our nation is the foundations from Scripture, whether it's law, whether it's liberty,
Right.
whether it's justice. The founders of our nation, as we know, most of them, many of them that were in that room that signed the Constitutional Convention, like I think it was like 27 or 23 of them were ordained pastors,
Right.
Or went to seminary, right? So we understand that the only reason our Constitution has outlasted every constitution in world history is because of the wisdom that we found in Scripture that
Yes.
got translated into our founding documents.
Godly
The
wisdom.
fact that we get to elect our representatives, right? That we get to choose people. And I love my friend Rafael Cruz, Senator Cruz's
Yes.
father, always talks about we choose men and women to represent us, very similar to how Jethro, Moses' uncle, was esteeming him to choose godly men who fear God, that love justice, right?
Yes.
That are not pursuing covetousness. We get to choose our elected officials, and we have a stewardship of this nation because of that. So I would say we absolutely have a foundation in the Christian faith, and that we have to preserve that for our nation to stand strong for the next 250 years or till Jesus comes back. And that's
Right.
why we're calling the American people to go back to the Bible, because we don't read the Bible in schools anymore. We don't have it in our families. We frankly are abandoning the Word of God even in our
Yes.
churches
Yes.
when we do a 15, 20-minute message,
Right.
and that's all we have. So we have to go back to devotion to God, and we have to go back to daily Bible reading if we're going to make it.
One of the things, Bunny, since you are, and again, correct me if I say anything off on this, but you are at the intersection of faith and politics. And, you know, in making sure that we, as you say, you're getting Christians out to be involved, engaged, and know what's going on, and to vote. And vote on biblically based issues, not on Democrat or Republican, but on biblically based issues, which tend to be obviously overwhelmingly Republican nonetheless. But so that's one thing that I wanted to say. I mean, that is a huge thing that you're doing. But another thing I'd like to say is this: when you see somebody like James Tallarico, who completely bastardizes what the Word of God says, and says that God believes in abortion because he gave Mary a say when the Holy Spirit, when the angel showed up and said you're going to bear a child, he did not give her a choice. He told her. So the one thing that people need to do, I tell this to my listeners on secular stations when I fill them all over the country and networks. I say the one thing that those people like James Tallarico that will bastardize the Bible, the one thing they need you to do to be successful is to not know the Bible, so that you cannot defend it and call it out when it is incorrectly cited. The way for them to do this at the polls, regardless of their political affiliation, is for us to not know, to be able to not defend our Bible. Is that accurate?
Well, this is not a partisan statement,
Right.
anything I'm about to say,
Right.
but there are deceiving spirits
Mm-hmm.
that are upon our culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be seen in all partisan divides. I mean, even, if you look at where the right and the left is, and then you look at, divisions on the right, even as it relates to the nation of Israel
Right.
and love for
Right.
the Jewish people.
Right.
So we have to have discerning spirits. And the only way you discern truth is you actually know the truth, right?
Yes.
And that's where the breakdown is. We don't know the
Right.
truth because we're not in the Word of God. And Romans says that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word. The Word is a sword. It divides soul and spirit. It is the discerner of the heart. So for us to be able to go, oh, I'm listening to this person speak right now, and he says that this is the Bible and this is truth. The only way you can know
Right.
that is the truth or not is to actually know the truth.
That's exactly right. That is exactly
So,
right.
That's part of why we feel like we have to have, an Ezra moment, meaning Ezra stood up with the scroll and read the word over the people of Israel to
Mhm.
remind them who they were.
Right.
And we need to have an Ezra moment in this country so that we can have leaders like Nehemiah raise up to rebuild the walls of a nation, which I have a new book coming out about that. because if we don't, we are not going to have leaders that know how to rebuild anything. We're just going to continue binge watching Netflix and playing games all day and never impact anybody with the gospel or with truth.
How did you come up with the idea? What came up? How did you get inspired to come up with this idea of America Reads the Bible? Where, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's literally day and night to read the entire Bible from April 18th to April 25th of this year, of course, at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. Where did this come up? Would you come up with this idea?
Well, I've been studying Nehemiah for 15 years. I've taught the book of Nehemiah to congressional staffers and even members of Congress. And I just finished a draft of a new book coming out. My book's coming out right after this event, May 19, called Stepping Up to Lead, Rebuilding a Nation in the Footsteps of Nehemiah. And it's a chronological study of the whole book of Nehemiah, but it also goes through all his characteristics, like 16 characteristics. And I highlight modern American heroes in America, like Scott Turner, our HUD secretary, or my friend Kyle Martin, or Jaco Boyens rescuing kids out of sex trafficking, as examples of people that are exemplifying those leadership qualities. But I was in the Museum of the Bible 2.5 years ago, and at the end of the Old Testament section, Ezra, in an animation form, stands up with the book of Moses and starts reading Genesis 1 to the Israelites. And he says, "Let there be light." And it just hit me. I couldn't stop crying because I thought, wow, this is the problem with the modern American church. I'm trying to get them all to be Nehemiahs, and they don't know how to be a Nehemiah because we don't know the word and we aren't devoted to Jesus above everything else. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we had an Ezra moment in our national leaders, the ones that really love God, the ones that are going, hey, American people, we're some of the high performing people in the country, but we need the Bible every day just to make it. And you need the Bible every day just to make it. And if they would tell their testimony and declare that without, they don't even have to commentate. They can just read Romans 1, 2, and 3, or Hebrews 2 and 3, or Ezekiel. What I love about this is why we're reading the Bible without anything else happening is because, when Ted Cruz reads a boring chapter in Ezekiel,
right,
that's going to impact people. When Turning Point Faith reads the book of Job, people are going to go, oh, wow, God can speak out of Job. There are sections of scripture where the Spirit of God is trying to interact in our life, but we think we have to just go to the Bible every time we feel like it. And he's going, no, go to the Bible because I want to speak to you through those chapters.
Yes.
And I believe that not only are Christians going to be impacted by God as they tune into the live stream, but I believe the American public, as they see these social media clips go viral and the news stories related to our national leaders reading the Bible, it is going to deeply impact our souls where we're like, you know what? I need to go find a Bible right now.
Right.
That's what we're believing for.
And that's why I love that. And that's why it's really good to see people like Patricia Heaton or, Candace Cameron Bure or Ted Cruz, Rafael Cruz, the list goes on and on. Defense, we don't know which cabinet secretaries are doing it, like you said, or joining you, but there's gonna be, I think you said 6 of them will be involved in this reading. And so it's really exciting. And that's what I love, is because you take people, as you know, the Bible, the Word of God, and God, he works with a woman who's a dear friend of ours from Haiti who lives in New York City. He works with, every race, every creed, every color. As you know, every knee and every tongue will confess that Jesus is, and will bow and confess that Jesus is Lord. And the great diversity, not DEI woke stuff, but the great diversity of God and his people is amazing. I mean, yesterday I was sitting at we're shopping around at the North Park Mall, and I sat at the coffee shop there they have in Macy's, and I met a guy and his mom, and he's a Christian, and it came up in the conversation. There are people, and he's from Honduras. There's people of all walks, all different different denominations, as long as they're obviously Christian-based, but what I'm saying? But there's people from all over all over this world, and of many different kinds, of many different statures, who still kneel and bow to Jesus and say, what do I need to do, Lord? Talk to me. Tell me your word. Guide me, right?
Yep. Yes. I mean, we just have such an incredible opportunity, Chris, right now in our nation. I think we're seeing the seeds of revival happening, but the enemy wants to do everything he can to distract us, to divide us, to keep us from that, right?
Yes.
And so, we're just praying, and I'm calling for every person that hears us right now talking about this to be praying over the next 7 weeks for our nation, because we have such an incredible opportunity to see the word of God shift our nation. But it has to start with us, Chris. It has to start
Yes.
with us. I will be a Nehemiah. I will be an Ezra. I will be one that, realizes I need God every day and will ask God to give me the grace to be the leader he's called me to be, regardless of the Sanballat and the Tobias and all the enemies of God that were there yelling at Nehemiah, telling him to get off the wall. And they're like, no, we're not getting off the wall. We're going to keep going.
Right.
And so it's a decision point that we have to make individually and as families. But I believe the Lord is going to speak to us in a radical way this year.
And way
it's going to be a life-changing.
And the way, well, I'll wrap it up with this, the way that we change things for those people out there, and I've said this, I've chastised listeners over the year, not particular ones, but people that want to go and participate in rallies and stuff for political causes that I agree with 110%. You should not be out on the streets or doing anything if your family is on fire in the house. Number one, you should be in the Word of God every day, or most days, right? And number two, it goes God first, it goes your marriage second, it goes your kids third, and your job fourth. If you have a situation in your house with your wife and things aren't well, you got to put that sign down and get in that house and save your marriage and get on your knees. That's how you save the family first, then the city, then the county, then the state, then the country, then the world. It's one family at a time. And while being active and voting, etc. Making sense on that?
Absolutely, 100%. And again, I wrote a book called Jesus in Politics about my walk with God in a mudslinging profession, Chris. But you can't survive. You're not going to survive if there's political junkies out there, which I know you have a lot of them listening to you. Yeah. You're not going to be able to survive in the days ahead, and you're not going to keep your soul in this world. And that's part of my testimony. By the grace of God, I have ran campaigns for Jeb Hensarling and Michael Cloud and Sean Duffy and Lee Zeldin and so many others. And seeing, and been able to disciple elected officials because, I know God and I walk with him, and that's got to be our testimony above everything else. The political stuff that we do and the things that how we try to impact policy or politics will only matter if we are firmly in him.
Yes.
So it's not a if or, it's not, hey guys, we're just in devotion to God and we're not impacting politics, but it's also not politics only. That's what's going to save our country.
Correct.
Like we've got to understand that we have to bring it all together. And I think that's kind of why God maybe picked me to lead this, even though I'm not qualified, because.
Oh, he always does that. He always does that, right?
It's the full picture. It's the full picture. It's not a divided body of Christ. It's not a divided picture. It's the big story of God. And I hope as we read the Bible together that we get outside of our own needs and our own, short thinking, and we see the big story of God and how we can all be involved in that. And that's what we're believing for.
So Franklin Graham will be one of the readers, and as you know, his father was a member, I'm sure, of First Baptist Dallas, which is my church home and has been for a long time. And Dr. Robert Jeffress is my friend and comes on my shows all the time, and I love him very much. And he quotes Billy Graham, of course, Franklin Graham's late father, and he quotes him and says, every morning we should wake up, we should have a newspaper in one hand and a Bible in the other hand. And I think that's exactly what what Christians Engaged is about. The paper in one hand is being aware of what's going on in your community and in your country and in your world, so that you can be active in voting. And number two, the way you know where to vote and how to live your life is that Bible in the other hand. You can't be ignorant of the world and the surroundings, and you must be active in it, but you also must be grounded in God's word, right?
Correct. And yeah, we're very blessed that Samaritan Purse is a partner, and Franklin's reading Luke 10 and also doing our welcome and the gospel presentation at the end of the book of Revelation. So yeah, if people see at our website, they'll see all the amazing people that are part of this, but it really has been an honor to mobilize and encourage people to get behind a large vision of John 17 in this time.
Okay, Bunny Pounds from Christians Engaged is the president and CEO of that group, of course. She also has put together and is leading this America Reads the Bible, AmericaReadsTheBible.com. A lot of high-profile people, a lot of wonderful people, a lot of servants will be reading the Bible day in and day out, 24/7 until they finish it between April 18th and April 25th. Are you going to have to? You're going to have people, because people, if you have an event, which I've done a million of them, you've done a million of them, and then if you got 5 speakers and 1 or 2 of them goes over, the whole thing blows up. How do you keep people from going over and making this a 5-week event instead of a 7-day event? Have you thought about that part? Somebody's a slow reader or something?
Oh yeah, we have everybody timed. They have to submit pre-videos and get the timing right.
Okay, good.
And,
yeah.
We've scheduled about 50 minutes of reading per hour, and then we have national worship leaders that are coming on their own dime. Everybody from Leland to Danny Goki to Kim Walker Smith to Meredith Andrews, and they're all coming to fill in those gaps with prayer and worship at the end of each hour. So we hope it'll go off without a hitch.
Of
course, it's real people,
right,
and it's a lot of planning. So.
Oh, I know. So yeah, I was just envisioning that. Someone's got to be the time master. You got to have a little shock collar on somebody. Get off the stage. We got the next person. Let's go. I appreciate you. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a logistical nightmare, but God's giving us grace to get through it.
That's exactly right. Bunny Pounds, Christians Engaged, thank you very much. Everybody go to AmericaReadsTheBible.com for the full information. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to any friend of my friends like Wayne Gona. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Yes, ma'am. There she goes. Okay. Yeah. One of my personal dear friends wanted me to really talk to her and has told me about her for years. And she's an amazing woman, and he does a lot of work with Christians Engaged. So check them out. And Bunny Pounds, of course, is the head of that organization. Okay, now on to war with Iran. There are people, including folks in my immediate family that are, rabid pro-Trump, very, very to the right, that are very upset that Trump has gone to war in Iran. And I understand that, and I want to hit that, and I want to also get into that. I want to go into all the details, what the latest is, and why I support what Trump's doing, even though many don't in our camp, and many do. But that's very important. I want to get into that big time coming up next. Also, the terror attack by the Islamist terrorist in Austin, given a dirt map courtesy of the Austin Police Department. You never know what will happen or when it will happen, and it's struck. We're going to get into all that coming up next. First, I want to tell you about this. I want to tell you about IRSprob.com, IRSprob.com. Randy Martin is my accountant, and Randy Martin has been my CPA for probably about 8 years or so. He and my wife, my wife and I use him for our businesses, and Randy's unfreaking believable. If you have an IRS problem, IRS controversy, IRS audits, you want tax planning for you, your business, Randy is the expert at all that. Let me show his logo again. There it is, IRSprob.com, IRSprob.com, or as he says it, IRSprob.com. And he's just an amazing tax planner and strategist, okay? Now, I got to tell you something else I'm so overjoyed to tell you about. So Randy's your tax guy. Guess who just joined me? I'm going to have him on this week. Guess who just joined the show as one of my sponsors? Jim Dutton from Texas Home Improvement. I'm extraordinarily proud of that. Jim hosts Texas Home Improvement in Dallas, in San Antonio, I believe in Austin still, and in Houston on KTRH, where I fill in from time to time. And Jim is the expert for all things home, and he is an amazing plumber. His company does plumbing and foundation, Due West Foundation Repair. And my wife worked for Due West for 3 years. Never said that when I was on the air, but there it is, Due West Services, DU-West. So the only person that's ever touched this house as a plumber or foundation has been Jim Dutton and Due West Okay? So you have a plumber for life. You have a foundation guy for life. And Jim tells you don't have a different foundation person from your plumber because they will blame each other when things go wrong. Jim has taught me everything about this house. The reason why this house is so awesome is because of Jim Dutton, and I'm serious. He has replaced water heaters in my home. Every single time I've needed to call, they've done everything on my house, including root shields. The reason why my pipes still haven't gone out and everybody else's in the neighborhoods have, because we're slabs, which is even more expensive, is because of root shields. Jim Dutton will do everything that you need to do for your house, and you can trust him. Okay? DoWest.com, do-west.com, and tell him Chris Crock sent you. Both that and for Randy Martin at IRSProb.com. All right, now let's get into Iran. Some people are going to be pissed at me, but I support this. Why do I support this? I think a lot of people don't realize how much terror Iran does to us and has done to us. I'm going to go over a list of that, but not right off the bat. When people don't understand, it's easy to say Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism. But if you remove Iran, as far as the radical Islamist regime, if you remove them and let the people rise up and take it over, about 90%, maybe 80, but it's about 90% of the people there, 89% of the people in Iran, of 92 million people in that nation, love the United States, especially now, but they have always loved the United States. They have no beef with Israel. And the reason why there's a massive amount of terrorism in the Middle East is because of Iran. They take trillions of dollars or billions of dollars every year, and they pump it into Hamas, which is what killed and slaughtered. If you care about the October 7th attack, by the way, the day Iran destroyed its own regime is October 7th. If you cared about an invasion of Israel, the slaughter, rape, and torture of women and men and children, and then capturing them, kidnapping them, and raping them day in and day out, many women and many men even. If you care about that, the only reason that happened is that Iran funded it, trained it, and planned it. Hamas is a mini Iran. To the north of Israel, Lebanon, Hezbollah, they are a huge terrorist outfit. And they're attacking Israel from the north. There's great video. I don't think I pulled it for today, but there's lasers. The Israeli laser system they have, they use it for the first time ever. And you can see the missiles being shot in Lebanon at Israel, and they only go up, they're shot up, and then they can't even go, it's in the frame doesn't have to move. Every missile, you can't see the laser, but they're just going up and blowing up. It's just unbelievable. We also did the first ever, we've never done this until now, we have done the first ever one-way drone attacks on Iran. In fact, that's one of the reasons that we killed these leaders is one-way drone attacks. Also, these deeply embedded missile places. But hold on, I'll go back to the terrorism. Iran also had its despot Bashar al-Assad in Syria, and Iran would move massive narcotics and weaponry through Syria so they can get it to Lebanon and to Hamas. However, they also, I'll stop on that. However, Syria's Bashar al-Assad was deposed. That was a bad problem for Iran. They lost a major ally. Number four, I forgot to mention, to the south by southwest of Israel is Yemen and the Houthis. If you care about shipments and natural gas, LNG, and oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz, it's not the Straits of Hormuz, there's one strait. If you care about it making there and gas prices and oil prices, if you care about shipping and getting stuff into the United States or from the United States to different parts of the world, that is the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea. That is run and owned by Iran and their navy, which is now destroyed, including the Houthis, terrorist proxy for Iran. And they're the ones who, our Navy was at the highest level of combat since World War II, according to the admiral in that part of the world that was running this during Joe Biden, when we were allowing the Houthis to attack us, well, after Joe Biden gave billions of dollars once again to Iran. Iran gives very, very much more state-of-the-art drones, the Shahed drone, or the Shahed drone, they call it, but also missiles. They got much more high-tech, much more accurate. We had the biggest ever, longest and biggest running battle of our Navy since World War II under Joe Biden. That's why I care. That's why it's good. And I'm going to read a list of countless terrorism and death and maiming and killing of our people all over the world in just a minute. I'm not going to go over every one of them because it'd be like reading the Bible for a week nonstop, which is great, but that's not what I'm here to do. Iran was this close to getting, they've been working with China for 2 years to get hypersonic missiles so they could take out our Navy. Iran cannot hit our country yet, but they're close. Iran has 900 pounds of 60% enriched uranium. They are, and they've always been for the past several years, this close, a month from having a nuclear bomb. And the thing they're going to do with it is kill us and kill Israel. And so I stand 110% with Israel. As you heard Bunny Pound say from Christians Engaged in America Reads the Bible, as a Christian, no one has taught me more. Well, if you know the Bible, which is important so that you can defend when the Democrats like James Tallarico lie. They tickle people's ears and say, yeah, God says it's okay to abort your fetus because Mary had a choice, which she never did. She was told what the Spirit of God was going to do and create a child in her. But people like him who bastardize it. You need to know the Bible to be able to defend it. And the Bible also speaks about Israel. And it's very simple. God says that Israelis and Israel, whether they're, by the way, the majority of Israel are secularists. They don't even believe in God, unfortunately. But it doesn't matter. God tells us in his Bible, those are his chosen people. The Jews are God's chosen people. Why do you think Jesus was a Jew? And God says it very clearly in the Bible. This is not difficult or long. I don't have to go over a dissertation. If you bless Israel, I will bless you. If you curse Israel, I will curse you. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be cursed by God. I want to be blessed by God. And I do have a deep love for Jews, including Jewish friends I have, but for Jews, because we worship the same God. And that is very important to me and very endearing to me. So you can, be a Tucker Carlson guy and say that, Israel's horrible and we're starting the world war and everything's going to die, and that's fine. But not me. Not me. But, so when they say the largest state sponsor of terror, I said that for years and didn't even know what the hell it meant. Excuse my language. But here's what it means. As I mentioned, Hamas to the west of Israel, Hezbollah to the north, the Houthis to the south by southwest, okay, attacking our allies and gas supplies like they just did in Saudi Arabia, attacking the shipping canals, and killing Jews and Americans all throughout Israel, and committing bombings and hijackings of planes and killing Americans, blowing up 200 some odd of our American soldiers in the Marine barracks in Lebanon, blowing up, and I'll go through the list I guess now, but this is the amount of terrorism that Iran has done as the largest state sponsor of terror, and they were closer and closer to having, as I said, hypersonic missiles that could take out our Navy, something fierce, that China was working in the works to give it to them. And by the way, Iran is and was heavily involved, for example, in Venezuela. The former vice president of Iran under Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, is an Islamist from Iran. Literally, the former vice president of Venezuela under Nicolas Maduro is an Islamist terrorist Iranian regime person. That was his former vice president. They had Hezbollah and Hamas have factories and training facilities in Venezuela. This is in China, along with Russia, are besties with Iran. They have already lost Bashar al-Assad. If they lose, and they're going to lose, well, we all lost Ayatollah. Where are you, Ayatollah? He took a dirt nap. He's in hell with his virgins, which are flames of fire, I guess, caressing his booty. So, what the hell am I saying? But anyway, so bombing discotheques in Europe, killing Americans. I'll read the list. But there's no way we're going to stop them there's no way we're going to allow them to have a nuclear weapon. And by the way, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you this. You may not know this. Donald Trump offered Iran to have free enriched uranium forever. In other words, because Iran wants to enrich its own uranium because it wants to create a nuclear bomb, so they can be the bully of the world and it can kill the Jews and kill Americans, like wipe them out, wipe us off. Their belief is that if they can kill all the Jews and kill all the Americans, they will usher in the 12th Imam, and that's the end of the world. And they go, the magic jackpot for hardline with radical Islamists is that to usher in the 12th Imam. Allergies. So let's go over the list of the terrorism that they've done. But Trump offered them free enriched nuclear fuel forever. And they said no. Iran said no. This is just recently. Iran said no, we want to enrich our own. And by the way, there's no reason to have to enrich past 6%. And they are sitting on 900 pounds of 60% enriched uranium to make a bomb. And so, hey, we'll provide you nuclear fuel so you can have peaceful nuclear power. They don't want that. They want to be able to create a bomb. By the way, Russia and China are now going to lose Iran, which means they've lost Bashar al-Assad. They will now lose Iran. And hey, where are Russia? Where are China? Why aren't they coming to Iran's aid? By the way, this is screwing China out of oil. China's our enemy. Russia's our enemy. This is going to screw China out of about 23% of its oil. We effed them on oil from Venezuela. And now we're effing them on oil from Iran. Please understand me. China does not and cannot get its own oil. It has to get it from Russia, Venezuela, and Iran. They're no longer getting it from two sources. Roughly 23% of all the oil that China needs is now cut off. How's that for boxing in our enemy? Let me go into the terrorism, and these are the many reasons also why we struck Iran. And I'm not reading all these. This is a long list. I'm only going to read some from the administration today. 1979, they took the U.S. Embassy in Tehran hostage, and 66 Americans hostage for over a year. 1983, the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, they bombed it with a suicide car, 17 Americans. By the way, these are the Iranians or their proxies who they train, arm, and pay to do this. In 83, the same year later, in October, 241 United States military personnel killed, 220 Marines, 21 other service personnel in a truck bombing at a Marine compound in Beirut. I'm skipping over a bunch. September 94, Hezbollah killed, which is Iran, through Hezbollah, killed 23 Americans at the U.S. Embassy Annex in Beirut. 84, hijacked a Kuwaiti airline, brutally tortured and killed 2 Americans. 85, hijacked TWA Flight 847, tortured a U.S. Navy diver before shooting him point blank in the head, tossing his body into the Beirut airport tarmac. 1995, Iran Islamic Jihad terrorists killed 8 people, 1 American, in a car bomb in Gaza. 1995, August, blew up a bus in Jerusalem, killing an American and 3 others. 96, February, blew up another bus in Jerusalem, killing 3 Americans. June 96, I'm skipping over a bunch, killed 19 U.S. airmen and wounded nearly 500 others in a truck bombing at the Air Force housing complex in Saudi Arabia. 19 of us killed in 96, okay? In 1998, al-Qaeda suicide bombers facilitated by Iran-backed Hezbollah simultaneously bombed U.S. embassies. Remember this? In Tanzania and Kenya. Dar es Salaam, Kenya, and Tanzania. I'll never forget that day, killing 224 people, including a dozen American citizens. That's Iran. 2001, blew up a Jerusalem pizzeria, as I like to say. Pizzeria, that's what they talk in New York. In 2001, blew up a Jerusalem pizzeria, killing 3 Americans. Skipping some. July 2002, killed 5 Americans in a bombing in Hebrew University in Jerusalem. 5 Americans. October 2003, killed 3 U.S. diplomatic personnel in a bombing in Gaza. Killed 3 of us. 2003. Between 2003 and 2011, Iraq's militias killed at least 603 of our United States troops in Iraq. 603 over an 8-year period. Roughly 1 in every 6 American combat fatality in Iraq was from Iran. 1 in every 6 Americans killed in Iraq was was from Iran. In 2003, they blew up a Jerusalem bus in Jerusalem again, killing 5 Americans. 2006, Iran-backed Hezbollah, again, these are their proxies, killed American citizen and an IDF soldier during the Second Lebanon War, the only American to die in the conflict. Now we go to October 7th, and you know the whole story. Killing, capturing, kidnapping Americans. That's why we are at war with Iran. They cannot have a bomb. Trump went to them again. And by the way, this was the time to do it. Why? The people of Iran, and yes, you can say, Chris, we've done another one. We pulled a pin. It's going to be like Libya, because that was one other war that we didn't go on the ground for, and that was a disaster. Libya is not Iran. Iran is not Libya. Iranian people are highly educated. They are very smart and very successful. They do not have a problem with America. In fact, they love America even before this, and they have no beef with Israel. I was in Atlanta doing a talk show there prior to coming to Dallas-Fort Worth 16 years ago, 16 years on Easter, my home. But I was in Atlanta, and a sweet old lady down the street that I was meeting, we were passing out garage sale flyers, and she invited me in. We talked for a while. She had an accent. She offered me baklava, and she said she's Persian. I said, is that Iranian? Because I knew it was. I think she was afraid, and she was. She said, I didn't know how you'd react, because a lot of people think we're bad or whatever, and they don't know we love America. I said, I know that. I very much know that. I know that. And it blessed me and it blessed her, because that's how the people of Iran are. And the people doing the Trump dance, and I think I may have pulled that one today at Iranian rallies, are having a great time. Which one is this? I think I might have it right here. Hold on. Oh, no, that's the terror attack. We'll get to that in a little bit. Anyways, at all these Iranian rallies, they've been doing the Trump dance, the pro-Iranian rallies celebrating this. They've been doing the Trump dance and getting all excited and happy about it, which is great. Their country's free. But it's not Libya. And we're not going to get bogged down like Afghanistan and Iraq. There is a risk. There's a huge risk. I'm not stupid. We lost 4 American soldiers. We did not lose 3. We lost a 4th earlier today. We might lose more. We're going to lose more. I think it's horrific. But this is what they serve for, to stop people from killing us. And I went through that list. Imagine them having a nuclear bomb. Putin's friendship has limits. Oh, wait. Let's go to this. You have to see this. There's so many good things. Here is a lady who is BBC. She's Iranian. Her parents are both from Iran. I don't know. She's probably born there but raised in Australia. She's on the BBC in Australia, and she had a message to the Ayatollah Khomeini, who of course is dead. This is great. Listen to this.
Conclude this editorial with this message to the late Supreme Leader. پدر سگ خاک به سرت بسوز تو جهنم. Rowan.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Rita. James, don't you agree? I mean,
little bit of gibberish, but
I don't have anything to add to that. That's it.
Hold on. She told him, I think, to burn in hell. Something like that. I have it here. It's great. Hold on. I got a bunch of different things in here. Hold on. It'll come out in a second. She said, burn in hell. Something of that nature. I thought I had it here. It was in my stack of stuff. So, yeah, she basically told him, have fun, burn in hell, you son of a bitch. That's what she said. That's exactly it. That was fun. Was it worth going to war over it? No, but that was fun. Let's do a little bit more on Iran. Let's see here. No, that's the terrorist attack, which we'll get to in a minute. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants today. Okay. Oh, here, check this out. These are these leftist women. I think this is the same women that wore the vagina hats. These leftist twit women. Look at this. Look at this. This post they put up. They're doing a rally. Look at this. My first question is, where's your hijabs? If you want to fight against war in Iran, put the damn hijab on. You're literally fighting for a radical Islamist regime that will kill, shoot, torture, or jail a woman who refuses to put a hijab on and keep it on. And there they are focusing for Iran. No war with Iran. Put your damn hijab on. Like the Muslims are trying to do at Wiley East High in Dallas-Fort Worth, right? and serving halal meals. Putin's friendship has limits, and Iran just found out, the Politico says. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was called by Iran saying, ring, ring, oh, help, we're so screwed, please help us, we're your friend. And Sergei Lavrov offered his Iranian counterpart sympathy and promised his verbal support. Verbal support, hey! Woo! Iran thus became, the Politico says, the latest country after Syria and Venezuela to feel firsthand what partnership with Russia does and doesn't mean. So Syria didn't get help from, they got help from Russia, but not much, comparatively speaking, to what they could do. Syria, Venezuela, nothing. And now, what do you call it? Iran. This is a great little column from A.G. Hamilton on Twitter. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just some highlights. And this is very true. I have said this for several months now. Several months. Maybe even the past year or two. Iran wishes it never did October 7th. The terrorist regime that runs Iran wishes it never did October 7th. Because, as this A.G. Hamilton points out on Twitter today, a lengthy piece he wrote, on October 6th, the Islamic Republic was at the height of its power. It was the highest point of its power ever. Iraq via militias, Syria via Assad. It was running Iraq via militias, Syria via Assad. The United States was retreating because it was Joe Biden. China became a substantial player in both the Middle East and South America, like I told you, with Venezuela and other places. The regime panicked. Basically, that was their best day, though. The most powerful day was October 6th. The regime panicked with the people rising a couple weeks ago, and that's why I wish Trump would have been quicker, but this is why, because it's a massive response. The regime panicked. It massacred Iranians. It decided its only path forward to survival was to rush toward a nuclear deterrent. And that's why we did this. China's alliances are falling apart, and their strategies across the what did I mentioned it to you already, the Caribbean and also South America and Central America are falling apart. In the Middle East, they're falling apart. This is the big picture on everything. How do you think China will respond? I'm sorry. How do you think China feels we will respond if they try to invade Taiwan? Now, okay, they could do it right now because we're vulnerable, quote unquote, because our military is there, but we know how they would respond. Iran has freaked out, as you know. They've shot missiles out to they have attacked more Middle East countries than Israel ever has. In 72 hours, Iran has attacked more Middle East countries than Israel or the U.S. ever has. In 72 hours. They've been hitting Bahrain, UAE, Abu Dhabi, all these different places. And what they've done is it made themselves even more isolated. And also, in addition to that, they have unified a lot of the Arab world, and they're going to start attacking them now because, for example, they hit Saudi Arabia. They're like one of their biggest, if not biggest, refinery, 550,000 barrels a day taken offline for production by attacking. Saudis are now getting involved. And I'll read to you here this. So, from A.G. Hamilton's column, it massacred Iranians. It decided its only path to survival is to rush towards a nuclear deterrent. China's alliances and strategies are falling apart. United States, the changing environment led to the U.S. to seize the opportunity to combat China's growing influence in South and Latin America. And this is from Joshua Trevino in today's Fox News column. Iraq and Afghanistan, there's no American occupation force. Unlike Iraq and Afghanistan, there will not be none. Now, Trump did say today he's not ruling out sending troops there. That's bad. I think what he means is some lightning raids by special forces like they did with Nicolas Maduro. The bad news is that the most applicable precedent, he writes, is for regime change is Libya, and that's bad, from the air, and that's bad, obviously. But that's not the case, though, because it's not the same. He talks about how the United States has adapted, that Russia and China has adapted, but Iran failed to adapt. And now, China and Russia will have drawn two more major lessons already. American power, he writes, American power projection is deeply reliant on free access to bases in allied nations, which we have. Unlike the Ayatollah and his regime, the president does learn and adapt. That's why the Ayatollah and the regime are dead. Pete Hegseth today said this. This is great. Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. Oh, here, the Iranian Sky News Australia anchor, she wasn't BBC, she's a Sky News. She said, "You son of a bitch, burn in hell." That's what she said in Arabic. Or Farsi. Actually, Iranian Farsi. It is not the same thing as Arabic or Farsi. Iranian Farsi is even harder. I know someone who speaks it and works for our government in some capacity. This is interesting, too. A D.C. area mosque pledged its loyalty to the Iranian dictator when he was, quote, martyred by the U.S. Its membership views Khomeini, Ayatollah Khomeini, not America's elected representatives, as our dear leader. Quote, he chanted death to America for 40 years, writes John Levine. It should be deeply disturbing to every American that there are communities of people in our country who would call him our dear leader. This is that's a Manassas mosque right by D.C. They just refer to the Ayatollah as our leader. Here we go. This from Frank Luntz. Almost all of Iran's exported oil and more than half of Venezuela's went to China last year. Iran and Venezuela make up 17% of China's overall purchases. Okay, I said 23, I meant 17. So, and this is from Peter J. Hassan, who is, I guess, a political guy or a writer on fossil fuels and such. President Donald Trump's latest attack on Iran takes a big economic bite out of one of America's chief rivals, China. Former Elizabeth Warren, you want to get a beer? Let's get a beer. Let's have a beer. Pocahontas' former aide, Kalawash, tweeted this today: "The only real justice for Imam Khomeini and for all the martyrs will be total and complete dismantling of the U.S. and Israel, quote unquote. Anything less is capitulation." That's a former Elizabeth Warren aide. She's like she's a radical Islamist jihadi. And I think that's about everything I wanted to get into on the war. So I support it. It could go horribly wrong, but I support it for the reasons I stated. Iran is and was a threat to America, to Israel, to Americans throughout the Middle East and in Europe and in America. By the way, another thing, the CIA had said that there were cells of Iranians in this country, and some of them may be being activated. Many of them came in during the Biden administration with our open borders. And A.G. Pam Bondi spoke about that today or yesterday, and I heard her talking about it. And the question is the guy in Austin, the terrorist in Austin who was shot and killed by Austin police, is he one of the sleeper cell types that came in? Now, we know he came in earlier, and he became a naturalized citizen. But are people like him out there that are part of sleeper cells that came in during the 4 years of Biden? You damn well better believe it. We have gotten, Bondi said, I think she said she got a couple, I think she said 10 or 20,000 or more illegal Iranians have been rounded up and gotten out of this country. But there's a lot more. There's a woman named Masih Ahmadinejad, I think, or Masih, something like that. She's a female, obviously, a woman journalist who's Iranian American. She's in New York City. She writes deep pieces and really good pieces against the terrorist regime. The RCG, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, has paid and trained and had people constantly try to go after her and kill her on our streets in New York City. They would show up. One of them showed up at her door with a like an AK-47 or an AR-15 to kill her, and was caught by authorities. Another ones, they got the intel from them, and they were literally watching her in the backyard gardening, saying we can easily kill her from this angle and this angle. So they're trying to kill Americans who are from Iran, who speak the truth about the regime. As you know, Iran has had two attempts to kill our president. They have tried to kill our president. They are not afraid to kill our people, and they attack and murder our people and our troops. Let's do this too. For Austin, the terrorist in Austin. His social media feed. Let's show some of the stuff that we've gotten and learned today from the terrorist in Austin. Here he is. I wonder what his motivations are. What does that shirt say? Property of Allah. Property of Allah. Gee, he's just another peaceful Muslim, isn't he? Just a peaceful Muslim. Living his life peacefully. It's a mostly peaceful protest. Look at that guy. Property of Allah. There we go. With his rifle, ready to kill Americans. You know what makes me mad? I carry 99.99% of the time, I tell you that, right? What makes me mad is that those kids in that bar, and adults, well, they're adults, those adults in that bar couldn't defend themselves by shooting back at them. That makes me mad. I know there's reasons for saying you can't carry in bars, but I don't agree with it, because you can get drunk and have a weapon at home. I know explosive things happen. I don't know, man. I don't think I was telling one of my friends, I went to a resort in Santa Fe, and I didn't see any of because it's one of the hotel chains, and they're all liberal. There's none you can't get away from that aren't liberal. And they always have anti-gun signs up there. No gun. There was no gun sign. I go into the resort that we stayed at, my wife and I, in Santa Fe, and I smell smoke. I'm like, you could smoke in here? It's one of these big hotel chains that would never allow that. And then I realized there's a casino downstairs. You can carry your weapon, you can smoke, you can drink alcohol, and all the while you're pulling your casino, the slot machine. That's the most freedom you'll ever have. And so obviously I asked the lady at the front counter, I said, it's on tribal lands. I said, is this a conservative tribe? She goes, oh yeah. I said, yeah! That is the most Americana you could possibly have. And I think the same thing should be that way for Texas. We should be allowed to carry in bars, because if you commit a crime, you're going to go to jail, regardless. I really do. This terrorist, there's another picture. This is what underneath his Property of Allah jersey was this. That's the terrorist regime's Iranian flag, not the old one with the lion on it that you're seeing people portray. It's an attempt to make an Iranian flag underneath. So the message was clear. This guy's a terrorist, and he's mad that we took out the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So let me do this. I'm going to show you some of the scene. This is like it seems like it's almost like actors. Because like this can't be real. We're not used to seeing this stuff, but it's real. Here he is. He's from Senegal. This is a map showing where he's from, which is an Islamist haven in some areas apparently, or perhaps the whole country. Which is why we shouldn't. Remember, we were invaded by Senegalese people. There was like hundreds and hundreds of Senegalese people at the border under Joe Biden coming in. How many of them are Islamists that are going to try to kill or rape or murder us, or commit a terrorist attack on us? We're all waiting. Here we go from the scene there, from the terrorist and people trying to revive some of the deceased. Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. I don't know if you caught the video of a Austin reporter who was told by his CBS Austin reporter was told by his boss reportedly to not focus on the Iranian protesters and the pro-Iran people. I'm sorry, the pro-Trump, pro-America Iranian people that were celebrating in the streets in Austin at the Capitol. And reporter Vinny Martorano, a CBS Austin reporter, was surrounded by the pro-Iran, pro-free Iran people, pro-Trump, waving Iranian flags while shouting, "Thank you, Trump, thank you, Bibi Netanyahu." Outside the Texas Capitol Saturday, he received a command during a Facebook live stream they were showing of it happening live on CBS Austin's live stream. And the reporter could be heard asking, "What does that mean?" His photographer guy, Photog, hands him and he's, "What does this mean?" And the photographer says, "It means they don't want us to focus on this." The staffer who's off screen says that. And a defiant Vinny Martorano said, "Well, I am going to report on this." And then in here, though, Daily Mail says, "Well, Sinclair owns this TV station in Austin, CBS Austin, and Sinclair's conservative." Here's what they're not understanding, and I understand, because I worked in television news during college, interning at Dateline NBC, and then locally at a NBC affiliate in a small town in Quincy, Illinois. About an hour and a half from my college, I would drive out there. My wife would hit record on the VHS tapes to record me when I did stories on the air. But and then I also worked out of college at a NBC affiliate in the Quad Cities, Iowa, Illinois, and just because Sinclair's a conservative company doesn't mean it does a litmus test on people to see if they're conservative or liberal. For example, the former radio station I worked at here had very liberal people in the newsroom. And it's a problem. It's a big problem. So just because you work for a conservative station or entity doesn't mean they're conservatives. So no, I believe that this was a liberal telling the reporter at CBS to not focus on it. And he told him to pound sand. He might not even be a conservative. He's just being a real journalist at that moment. Now, this terrorist who is accused of, he's dead. He killed 2 people and wounded a whole bunch, I think 14 or more, has radical Islamist messages all throughout his social media. I'm going to share some of those with you and read some of them right now to you. This from the Daily Mail today. He attacked, he abused Jews, branded conservative women, I'll say the word whores, and backed Iran to destroy Israel in a series of hate-flecked online posts before he did his terror attack. The Senegalese immigrant, 53, he's not a young radical Islamist, he's 53, murdered 2 people and wounded 14 at Buford's Backyard Beer Garden, which you saw the video from, that traumatic video. Last April, he added online, "The Islamic Revolution is eternal and here to stay until the end of time." This is a guy from Senegal in Africa, but he's a Muslim, and he supports the radical Islamist regime. He also tweeted out, "You Zionist Islamophobes," look at this, just like CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, "You Islamists, you Zionists, you Islamophobes can be angry all you want, but you can't do a damn thing about it no matter what." He was born in Senegal, West Africa, naturalized U.S. citizen, had a Quran in his car, and wore a Property of Allah hoodie. I want to know what mosque he went to. And I want the FBI to go to that mosque, undercover and plain clothes and uniformed, and to monitor that mosque for a while. How could he go to a mosque and do these things? Anything's possible, but I want that mosque deeply checked out. He's a divorced father of 3. I'm sure because they're all radical Islamists are miserable people. They recruit desperate, miserable people who hate God and who love murdering people and Jews and love radical Islam. He called Trump a shameless clown in 2025, the terrorist in Austin. He said that Benjamin Netanyahu is evil. He also put out there, atrocities of the settlers occupying Palestine will come to an end just like the apartheid South Africa. He speaks just like a woke leftist, doesn't he? He speaks just like the leftists do. He's a good, hardened leftist liberal Democrat. Radicalized probably through the liberal Democrat media. His online fury towards the president's daughter surfaced as he was photographed attending, Ivanka was photographed attending synagogue in Miami on Sunday. He also created his account on X in October 2024. Nearly all of his 40 posts aimed at attacking Christianity. Nearly 40 of his posts, nearly all of them are attacking Christianity, Israel, and Jews and conservatives. He's a good liberal Democrat who hates Jews, who loves Iran like these crazy leftist women that are supporting Iran marching around. He smeared Christians as fake imposters, writing on X, "Only someone demented would believe what you Christians say." It's evil. It's evil. Jewish United States Representative Randy Fine and MAGA podcaster Laura Loomer. She called for a crackdown on Sharia last October. He responded, "Free ride is coming to an end. You and your Israeli acolytes, fake Jews, know it. So melt down all you want, ugly B word. Shut the F up, you Israel first." I don't know what the W word is. "Move to Israel, you effing B word," he said about Loomer. Randy Fine, the Jewish Republican from Florida, said, "When someone yells Allahu Akbar, there's a real chance someone's about to get killed." That is exactly right. I've never heard anybody yell Allahu Akbar in my presence, but if they did, the first thing I'd be doing is getting ready to pull my gun out. He said it's not, Randy Fine said it's not Islamophobic to say that somebody yells Allahu Akbar, there's a real chance somebody's going to get killed. That's exactly right. He responded, this terrorist guy in Austin responded, "So say someone whose holy book says Jesus Christ is being burned in hell and his mother was a whore, whereas Muslims revere both Jesus and his mother." Anyways, just a sick, evil Islamist terrorist. He also, his X account follows Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, President Trump, and this is Flow from Progressive. He follows Flow from Progressive. What the hell? And MAGA influencer Valentina Gomez, when she's running for Congress right now, promised to make her state the worst place for jihadis and illegals to live in October 2025. He sneered at her on social media, "Trying so hard to assimilate. You ain't one of them wet back B words." Wow. This guy's a sick, evil man. What mosque did he go to again? I want to know. "Just post your address, tough girl," he said. He stood outside, firing at patrons from the street with a handgun and a rifle, is what the Austin police chief says. He arrived here in 2000 of March. A good Muslim man. He integrated fully, didn't he? Oh, wait. No. Let's bring in more Muslims from third world countries. Huh? No, thank you. He lived in New York, became naturalized in 2013 despite having a history of arrests. Before moving to San Antonio with his wife, he lives in Pflugerville until he, of course, went to go to join Allah in hell. I have this disturbing post I'm going to share with you. Got this from Amy Mack, who exposes radical Islam all over the country and all over the world. I'm about to play this for you. This is a young Syrian American named Mohammed Al-Tabah, a former Texas Tech Muslim Student Association president with Muslim Brotherhood ties via Muslim Student Association networks. Absolutely. He bought an abandoned elementary school in Lubbock, the Islamization of Lubbock. He bought an elementary school, flipped it into a massive unity center, quote-unquote, mosque, just in 45 days with, quote, global support. How much do you want to bet that's like Qatar or some other radical Islamist Arab country with tons of money? He said he bought the school, converted into a massive mosque in just 45 days with global support, quote-unquote, and foreign funds pouring in from worldwide donors. He brags on his own videos. Let me play some of this. This is unreal. This is going on in Lubbock, the Islamization of Lubbock. Watch this.
I just bought this elementary school, and that's kind of crazy. My name is Mohammed Tabah, and over the past 45 days, we've been converting this elementary school into a masjid. And now, I'm finally happy to announce that the Unity Center is officially open. And it's been a super exciting week with many firsts. Our very first Taraweeh, our very first Jummah, our very first weekend.
Let me stop it right there and tell you something. This guy posted videos of himself in April of last year riding on the back of a motorcycle through war-torn Syria at a time that the U.S. State Department said it's level 4, do not travel, meaning don't go to Syria, the warnings for terrorism, kidnapping, and no safe areas. So how did this guy, who's opening up, he bought a school and is opening up, as he said, masjid, which is a mosque, and also it's a unity center. How did he get all this money, and why was he in war-torn Syria when no American was safe there, riding on a bike? Who does he know? Who's he getting money from?
And class for the kids, and our very first iftar. And I know they say everything is bigger in Texas, but man, we invited the community out to this iftar, and they did not disappoint. We're out here doing our first ever iftar, and mashallah, the line does not stop.
This is Lubbock, Texas, y'all. Wow. Let me jump up to something. Let me jump up to here. This is where he gets some guilty liberals, white and Asian liberals, to say how awesome this Unity Center is. And they're not wearing their Sharia-compliant hijabs. So here we go.
Student classmates were also having some car troubles, so they stopped by to get their car fixed because we're obviously part-time car mechanics, but to also get a tour of the Unity Center.
I'm Riley.
And I'm Sam. We're third-year medical students at Texas Tech, and the Unity Center is incredible. You guys should definitely check it out.
We think it'll be really great for the community, for everyone to come together and also give back. I think we should do a free clinic here as well and give back to the community on this side of Lubbock.
And just like that, we put an end to an amazing first week at the Unity Center.
Okay, so he's asking for money. He says he already pulled in $80,000 in the first week to get upgrades rolling. I mean, this is the Islamization of Texas, and that is in Lubbock. Also, there is an Islamic imam. I think this is in Plano. I don't know for sure yet. This is an Islamic imam. Dr. Malouf put this out there. This is an Islamic imam in Texas. Quote, I'll play it for you in a second. Mamdani was the victory for the Ummah. We didn't succeed in conquering Vienna by the sword for 200 years, and now it's 20% Muslim. We need to enlarge the Muslim population in America just like we did in Europe. I'm wondering if this is Epic Mosque. I don't know where this is.
The election of somebody like Mamdani, it is a game changer. We need somebody like Mamdani to be the mayor of New York. And that is a victory for the Ummah. I'm jumping the gun here, but this is one of the narrow-mindeds that need to break here. And if you don't understand this, then honestly you need to rethink through your understanding of civilizational strength. Everybody has a role to play. Muftis have a role to play, and politicians have the role to play. Let everybody be active in their role. This is a strength of our community. And of our greatest strengths, like I said, the political freedoms we have. The guy tried, not once, not twice, 8 times to shut our project down. I don't want to go into all the details because of time. He failed miserably at every single level.
This is a mosque in Texas. I'm wondering if this is Epic Mosque. East Plano Islamic Center, and maybe they're talking about the Epic City, now the Meadows, for the Islamic City. I don't know, but let's continue on. This is a Texas imam saying horrible things.
And the project is still going full steam ahead.
Allahu Akbar together. But I don't know for sure, but this to me it's got to be Epic, but I don't know which one it is. We'll find out soon, but that's a mosque in Texas. Let me continue on with this guy.
Do you understand what I'm saying here? The governor of one of the largest states of the world, Texas, everything's big in Texas, wanted to stop, and he tried, وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهِ. Multiple ways he tried. Alhamdulillah, that bill did not pass because of multiple reasons. Of them, we employed our lobbyists, money in the lobby. You have to do this reality. And yet here we are still debating, can I vote or not? Does voting shirk or haram or kufr? Wallahi, we are in one galaxy and the world is a different galaxy. Literally, it's just disconnected from reality. If we did not get involved, our masjid would have been shut down. Forget our project, right? These are some of the strengths. Very quickly, weaknesses. We have multiple weaknesses. Our biggest weakness is our percentage in this country. We are very disadvantaged. By the way, this is only in this country.
I'm going to pause it right here. The Islamization of Germany, Great Britain, Vienna, as he's going to say in a minute. These countries, and France, they're going to become Muslim nations. They'll be Islamic states, but give or take 15 to 30 years. And I'm not exaggerating. I was shocked to see a video that one of my pastors, now at First Baptist Dallas, which I've been a member of now for I think 11 years. Prior to that, the first 5 years, we were at a local Bible church in Dallas, and the pastor played, so this has been about 12 years ago, a video that showed the birth rate and the Islamization of Europe, and it's unbelievable. The secularist, leftists, humanists in Europe are not procreating, and if they are, they're doing one baby. They're not getting married, while the Islamists are pumping out 5 babies and taking over the population, having the no-go zones, harassing or beating Jews for wearing their yarmulkes. They've imported the third world, and we are, in things we're seeing, like that Muslim man praying in the driveway of a guy's house at Wiley, which is wild. Let's continue on with the rest of this, though, because you're seeing this is the Islamization of Texas. This is a mosque in Texas. I'm guessing it's in Plano, but I don't know for sure yet. And you're going to hear him talk about waging what CARE said. CARE is, of course, a foreign terrorist organization. They are an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest ever terrorism fundraising case in U.S. history. The Holy Land Foundation raising $5 to $7 million to kill Jews in Gaza, for Hamas. And several people from the Holy Land Foundation, which is in Richardson, this is after 9/11, were sent to prison, convicted and sent to prison for decades. Several people from the Holy Land Foundation. And one of the unindicted co-conspirators in the case was CARE. They were on a wiretap meeting with the Holy Land Foundation people in Boston at a hotel room saying, and CARE said, we need to wage jihad. We need to wage a nonviolent jihad. We need to take advantage of the media in this country to turn this country against itself, to act like we're being persecuted as Muslims, and to take over this country. The media and the freedom and the laws of this country, and turn it against itself, is what they were saying. And the FBI said they are a co-conspirator, and they were in the documents as a co-conspirator, and that they're a front for the Muslim Brotherhood, and which is a terrorist organization. And CARE went back to court a year or 2 or 3, I don't know how many years later, after the Holy Land Foundation, and sued and asked a judge to have them removed as an unindicted co-conspirator. And the judge says, no, you are an unindicted co-conspirator, so they will never be changed. They always are and always will be an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest ever terrorism fundraising case in U.S. history in Richardson, Texas. CARE. CARE spoke at our state school board. I'm going to play some audio of that tomorrow on tomorrow's podcast. It's unbelievable what they're doing. Let me play the rest of this, though, from this. I'm going to go back just a teeny bit. I'm going to play the rest of this from a mosque in Texas. I think this is in Plano, but I don't know for sure.
We are very disadvantaged. By the way, this is only in this country, because across the Western world, mashallah, tabarakallah, percentages are rising to the point of it's terrifying them. Sweden, 10% Muslim. Oslo, Norway, 10% Muslim. Oslo, of all places. Vienna, the Ottoman Turks tried 200 years, they couldn't do anything. Vienna is 10% Muslim, mashallah, tabarakallah. 10% Muslim. England, London, it is estimated 20%. I was in Australia a year and a half ago. Australia, Sydney, there are districts the size of maybe half of Austin that are 60% Muslim. Lakimba, go look it up. Lakimba in Sydney.
This is the Islamization of our state. This is the open attempt to overpopulate our country and to hand it over to Islamists. What kind of religion seeks to grow in numbers and seemingly take over a country? What in God's name is that? It's terrifying. The best thing we can do is, like we talked about earlier with Bonnie Pounds from Christians Engaged and America Reads the Bible, the best thing we can do is know our Bible, pray, share the gospel with people. Most importantly, though, have a relationship with people. Don't share the gospel when you don't know people. Get to know people. Pour into them, and then you can share things. And encourage folks to get married and encourage folks to have kids. So I don't know exactly where that is, but this is serious. Let me go to a buddy of mine, Eric Erickson, who's just a brilliant writer. He wrote this today. He's a broadcaster, too. I'm just going to read some highlights from what he said about Muslims and the terror attack in Iran. Iran's leadership was declared global jihad. Iran's leadership, my buddy writes, Eric Erickson writes, Iran's leadership has declared global jihad and is calling for Arabs to globally rise and attack the United States. The CIA's fear of sleeper cells in the U.S. because of Joe Biden's open borders program are real, he says. Dearborn Henry Ford Community College professor Ali Akbar Shadid declared Trump publicly on social media, Trump made a huge mistake by killing our beloved leader. This is a community college professor. Ali Akbar Shadid in Dearborn. Trump made a huge mistake by killing our beloved our beloved leader, Sayyid Ali Khamenei, the Ayatollah Khamenei, supreme leader. He thought that by killing him, he's going to make the believers submit and then make them hopeless. However, we're going to continue on the path of Sayyid Ali Khamenei, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. We're going to hold his blood, his ideology. We're going to learn it, teach it to our children and grandchildren. As far as he knows, my buddy says, this guy's still teaching. The Progressive Women's March, I showed you that picture, is spreading the lie that Americans bombed an Iranian school, which we did not bomb an Iranian school. That was an errant missile from Iran that bombed and killed girls in an Iranian school. The imam in Texas that I played for you is declaring the need to expand the Muslim population in the United States to take over. That is to take us over. Students for Justice in Palestine, which is a terrorist-supported group, at the University of Chicago, celebrated Iran's striking of an American base in Bahrain. They celebrated us getting hit by Iran in Bahrain. Columbia University rushed out to claim that Quad, that's the terrorist supporting organization, what's it called? Columbia University, something or other. Columbia University rushed out to claim that Quad, a group run by a friend of Zorhan Mandami, and then tweeted out, "Death to America" in Persian is not actually a campus group. Then someone pointed out Columbia University has itself promoted Quad, and many of their faculty support the organization. They're terrorists and terrorist supporters. The leader of the Democrat Socialists of America has put this out: "May God protect the people of Iran, and may God damn the Trump regime." A city council member in Indianapolis, Indiana, after that attack said, "Amen." Terrorists and terrorist supporters among us. Over the past 72 hours, my buddy writes, Iran has attacked more countries in the Middle East than Israel has in 50 years. They attacked Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Cyprus and Syria have all been attacked by Iran. From my friend who was just on last week, Kaylee Campbell, a teacher from Frisco says she's been fired for making comments against Islam on her Facebook account. You know we're going to look into this. We're going to find out what those words are. I'll look it up. I'll hunt her down and see if I can get her on my show. Kaylee says, this former teacher states, "Yes, a Frisco public school. Let me clarify. They did not fire me. They asked me to leave and put it in a resignation. On Friday the 27th, they asked me to leave because of what happened with my post. So she forcibly resigned," my friend Kaylee writes. The school was Memorial High School in Frisco. I'll be digging into that one. And Jazzy Crockett from Ryan James Gerdusky. Election day voting for Republicans tomorrow. Need to make sure we get Jasmine Crockett over the finish line. We cannot allow the racist Democrats from letting this proud black woman represent her party. Yes! Vote Jazzy, because we can vote in either primary if we want. If you're going to vote for Democrat, vote Jazzy, please. We need her now more than ever. By the way, did you know that Sunday was the 189th anniversary of our formal Declaration of Independence of Mexico? If you ever want to read an amazing book about this great state that I live in, that you live in most likely, read James R. Michener's Texas. It's this thick. I think it's the only book I've ever read that's anywhere near this thickness. It was incredible. It was absolutely a masterpiece. And it taught me so much about this great state and how beautiful it is. Don't forget to vote tomorrow if you haven't voted early. Dallas officials, this is a big one right here. Dallas officials say they are working to change freeway signs to reflect Botham-Jean Boulevard. Botham-Jean Boulevard. It's going to cost $300,000, they estimate, which means it's going to be $500,000 or $600,000. Changing the freeway signs is estimated $300,000 cost. This is something Council Member Adam Bazaldua who at last time I checked, he has the highest homicide rate in the entire city of Dallas. And here's what his concerns are: spending $300,000+ to rename highway signs after Botham Jean. He is not a hero. He didn't have a halo over his head like this thing in Oak Cliff or something. I don't know where it is, but there's some mural somebody painted of him with an angel, ring around his head. He wasn't an angel. He was living in his apartment on his own. I understand that he did nothing wrong. He was smoking weed, but it doesn't mean... Actually, what it means is maybe why he responded the way he did was because he was high. I don't know. But of course, he's not a hero. And Amber Guyger did not commit a crime. Amber Guyger had what is called mistake of fact. The Texas Ranger who investigated that case, who's black, said such a thing, and they struck it out of the court records. But he said, I investigated it, and I found no fault. She has committed no crime. And they got that removed from the testimony. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was the most horrible thing that could have happened, because that's why she shouldn't be have been charged. She's not guilty of anything. It's a mistake of fact. Everybody in that apartment complex, not everybody, but scores of people testified. When you pull up in the parking garage, none of the floors have levels on them. You can't see what floor you're on. It doesn't say. Number two, every floor has the same color. There's no differentiation. Like this floor is green, this one's blue. It's all the same. And a man would go. There were stories. People testified in the trial. One man took his dog for a walk, came back, and walked into somebody else's apartment. It was on a different level. He said he walked in and he saw a purse on the table, and he's like, why is there a purse here? Wait a minute, this is not my house. Because every floor was not labeled. Every floor looked the same. And somebody's like, well, Botham Jean, he had a special carpet or something on the ground, some certain color. When you come home, she was also being worked to death. When you come home after a 16-hour day and you're a tiny woman, a strong and tiny woman who's worked a long day, and you got 30 pounds of equipment on both your arms, you're not looking down to see where your feet are. You're coming home to crash. The door, the strike plate, didn't lock. They were supposed to be automatic locks. They didn't lock. The door was open, is from my understanding from that trial. And I told you this. And Botham Jean's brother was exactly the right way. He is exactly what Christ wants us to do in those situations. That young man is a testament to God and godliness. He is exactly how God wants us to act when our brother's been taken from us like that. Forgiving and loving and kindness. Botham Jean's mom is the exact opposite of that. Unforgiving, unkind, horrific, attacking and yelling and just filled with venom. She needs to learn from her son. And she needs to do what my friend June Hunt teaches at First Baptist Dallas on her radio show, Hope for the Heart. She's a good friend of mine. Which is, when you forgive somebody, you're taking them off of your hook and you're putting them on God's hook, and let God take care of it. Amber loves God. She knows God. And she should be free. But they want to change and spend all this money for Botham Jean Highway. They shouldn't have named Botham Jean the Boulevard. They shouldn't have named any of that after him. Nothing should be named after him. But I was telling you this. I went nuts day in and day out with that story when it was all over the news. And I said the one thing that this family should be doing is not suing or going after Amber Guyger. This family should be suing and going after the building. Because even the Dallas detectives and the photographers, they didn't even know what floor they were on. They're going to the wrong floor. But as I said, story after story of women and men leaving and coming back in the wrong apartment on the wrong floor. All the time. And I said that instead of suing Amber, because they got a civil settlement that they'll never get a dime out of, though. She's still in prison. But I said they should sue the apartment complex. This is their fault. Not the whole thing, but most of it was their fault. Absolutely. And what did they do the day after she got a conviction? Then they filed suit against the apartment complex. Exactly what I said should have been done. It was the apartment complex for not labeling the levels on parking levels, not distinguishing them, for not labeling anything on the floors. Nothing distinguished. The whole place was all the same, leading average people to consistently end up on the wrong floor and opening doors with doors that are supposed to be automatically locking that are not locked. Because if they were, then your key wouldn't be able to work. All in the apartment. So no, we shouldn't spend a damn dime, and we shouldn't have done it to begin with. Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. Texas can ban sexually explicit shows for minors. The appellate court just ruled. This is from Texas Scorecard today. A 2-judge panel on the U.S. Circuit Fifth Court of Appeals in New Orleans issued an opinion Wednesday lifting an injunction against enforcing the ban. Senate Bill 12 can now go into effect. A minor, anyone under 18, I believe it is, cannot go into a drag strip club with drag club or whatever. I was watching. There's a great show that my wife likes with Harrison Ford and all these other guys on Apple TV. It's called Shrinking or The Shrinking or something like that. They're all shrinks. It's a good show. Of course, they're all liberals, of course. But this gay couple got married and they're having a surrogate baby through some lady. And the gay guy, as they're doing something, setting up the place for the room for the baby, that he says, "Yeah, and we could take him to a drag brunch." Like a 6-month-old, or when he's a year or two old, we'll take him to a drag brunch. And in order to show how we're wrong biblically, in order to say to show how God's wrong, how we're wrong, and our values are wrong, they will subject a child to abuse and exposure to inappropriate sexual material, explicit sexual material, only because in their fervor and verve to try to prove or out-snooker us and our values. But that's abuse to a child. There was a Dallas drag bar club or whatever where they had an event with kids, and it said something about suck it up and lick it up or something like that, vile stuff on the backdrop there, which is fine if it's an adult place, but not with 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 5-years-old. And it's not about my taste or my biblical values. It's about child abuse. I mean, would it be okay to show a child pornography? That's highly illegal. That's what this is. So circuit judge just ruled the owner, some of the people who were plaintiffs in this, the owners described one performance where a drag queen who was wearing a very revealing breastplate pulsed the breastplate in front of people and put the breastplate in people's faces. Section 1 of the law prohibits a person who controls the premises of a commercial enterprise from allowing a sexually oriented performance to be presented on the premises in the presence of an individual under 18 years of age. If you want to show your kids disgusting sexual things or something that if adults want to go to a drag bar, who cares? If you want to show that to a child in your home, God help you, but do that in your home. Don't do that in public, and it's against the law, and I'm glad it is. In a footnote, this is good, one more piece from the Texas Scorecard piece today. In the footnote, the court expressed genuine doubt whether pulsing prosthetic breasts in front of people, putting prosthetic breasts in people's faces, and being spanked by audience members are actually constitutionally protected, especially in the presence of minors. You think? They're doing abuse to make a point. They're willing to abuse a child to make some kind of a point against us. In their fervor and hatred for us, they'll abuse a child. That's like extreme TDS, right? Okay, Cincinnati proposes reparations for a program funded by marijuana tax revenue. Cincinnati proposes reparations for program funded by marijuana tax revenue. So what they're doing is saying to the African American community and to others, but to the African American community, get high, and we'll use that money while you're stoned and useless. Get high, and then we'll help that to pay for you to have reparations, but still keep getting high. It's like a self-propelling, disgusting cycle. To me, it's insulting if you're black. Lawsuit. McKinney ISD athletic director, this is a woman, sexually abused a 14-year-old girl on and off campus. She groomed her. They received inappropriate allegations of text messages or conduct, Fox 4 says today in Dallas-Fort Worth, between her and a student at McKinney North High. She was charged with sexual assault of a child, improper relationship between an educator and a student, second-degree felonies both. Now, in the arrest warrant says the 14-year-old victim's father uncovered the sexual abuse after he found sexually explicit message on his daughter's phone. Sexually grooming a woman, sexually grooming a girl. Child molester. Would she have brought her to a drag brunch? You betcha. Text message from the post reportedly said, "I miss you, baby. I love you, baby." These people that rape boys and girls in our schools, high schools and below, particularly the ones in high schools or late middle school age, they want to feel like a god. They want to feel super, super important and worshipped. That's why they give sex, to feel powerful and to be worshipped by these children. It's satanic. You want to hear one of the many reasons why I'm rabidly against any self-driving anything on our roads. Now comes this from the terror attack in Austin over the weekend. A driverless Waymo, here's the headline, self-driving Waymo EV blocked first responders at the Austin mass shooting scene. How would you like to be told, "I'm sorry, Mr. Jones. I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones. Your daughter's dead because a Waymo vehicle was blocking the police from killing the terrorist. He had a few more minutes so he can kill your daughter, too." How would you like to hear that? Driverless Waymo robotaxi obstructed emergency vehicles attempting to reach the site of mass shooting in downtown Austin, left 2 people dead and 14 injured. KXAN, the NBC affiliate there, reports that an autonomous Waymo vehicle caused a delay for emergency responders racing to the scene of a deadly mass shooting at a popular Austin bar in the early morning hours of Sunday. Can you freaking believe this? It has renewed the concerns about self-deploying vehicles in urban environments. That's exactly right. This is from Breitbart today. A guy who had ordered an Uber ride after leaving a nightclub in the area around 2 a.m. captured video footage of the vehicle blocking West 6th Street and Nueces Street. 6th Street is the heart of downtown, at least partying and nightlife. What happened? The location was approximately 2 minutes away from Buford's Backyard Beer and Garden, where a gunman had opened fire, killing 2 and wounded 14 others. We left the club at 2. We were walking to get a ride home. We just so happened to get a Waymo from Uber, and then we found the car. It was trying to pick us up, but it got stuck in the middle of the street and blocked emergency vehicles for a couple minutes. This is vile. Absolute vile. This show, I want to once again welcome Due West. If you need a plumber or you need a foundation repair person, it is Jim Dutton from Texas Home Improvement. He owns Due West. My wife used to work there, and they have done every single bit of plumbing in this house, every single bit of replacing our water heaters, everything. The reason why I picked this house that I'm living in is because Jim approved my foundation before I bought it. And because of him and doing the preventive measures he's done, I still have my pipes. I haven't had to replace them like everybody else in the neighborhood has over the past 10 years. And my plumbing is excellent. This show is brought to you by IRSprob.com. IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversies, IRS audits, and tax planning strategy. Randy Martin is my CPA for my business, my wife's business, and for all of us, even the children's. Randy Martin, IRSprob.com, IRSprob.com. I will see you mañana.